Hello and welcome to this Friday's episode of Sports Corner. I'm Cole Young, and for the first time in NBA history, the Oklahoma City Thunder are NBA champions. The Seattle Supersonics moved to Oklahoma City 17 years ago and rebranded as the Thunder, and they now are winners of the Larry O'Brien Trophy. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander finished off his MVP season with 29 points and 12 assists, and the Thunder beat the Indiana Pacers 103-91 in Game 7 of the NBA Finals on Sunday night. Oklahoma City won a staggering 84 games between the regular season and the playoffs, tying the 1996 Chicago Bulls for the third most in any season. Only Golden State, who had 88 in 2016, and the Bulls, who had 87, won more. Unfortunately, the biggest storyline surrounding this game is Indiana Pacers star point guard Tyrese Halliburton suffering a torn Achilles tendon early in the first quarter. Halliburton got off to a quick start, scoring 9 points in the first 7 minutes of the game before suffering the injury. Despite the loss of Halliburton early on, Indiana still held their own for a lot of the game. The Pacers led 48-47 at the half behind big performances from Pascal Siakam, Benedict Mathurin, and TJ McConnell. However, OKC adjusted well at half and jumped out to a 13-point lead in the third quarter and ran away with the game from there. The Thunder became the 7th champion in the last 7 seasons, a run of parity like none other in the NBA history. In fact, the Thunder are the 9th franchise to win a title in the past 12 seasons. In the previous 30 years before that, only 8 different teams won. Congratulations to the Thunder on their historic season and their first ever title, and we'll wait and see if they can repeat next season. In what may or may not have been an odd coincidence, Kevin Durant, who spent the first 10 years of his career with the Sonics/Thunder, was traded just hours before tip-off of the NBA Finals Game 7. The Phoenix Suns sent the 15-time NBA All-Star to the Houston Rockets for Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, the number 10 pick in this year's draft, and 5 second-round picks. Durant, who turns 37 in September, averaged 26.6 points, 6 rebounds, and 4.2 assists in 62 games this season. The future Hall of Famer has averaged at least 25 points, 50% field goal shooting, and 40% on three-pointers in 3 straight seasons, the longest streak ever in the NBA. So while Durant is nearing the tail end of his career, he can still bring a lot of talent to the Rockets. I mentioned that this may not have been a coincidence because back in 2017, Durant changed the course of NBA history when he announced he would leave the Thunder to join the Golden State Warriors, where he won back-to-back titles alongside Steph Curry. Naturally, Oklahoma City fans didn't take too kindly to Durant leaving the Thunder to chase a championship. Needless to say, it seems funny that Durant's massive trade announcement came just a few hours before the Thunder won their first ever title and stole a little bit of their thunder. That was way too easy of a pun. Moving over to the Diamond. One of the MLB's top teams, the Los Angeles Dodgers, made headlines this week when the best player in baseball returned to the mound. Nearly 22 months after his last pitching start, 21 months after undergoing major surgery on his right elbow, and 18 months after signing a record-setting contract with the Dodgers, Shohei Ohtani made his highly anticipated pitching return on Monday the 16th. Naturally, it will be a slow process, so Ohtani only pitched in the first inning. He gave up 1 run, then went 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs as a hitter to lead the Dodgers to a win over the rival Padres. Ohtani's teammate Max Muncy then upstaged him this past Sunday in Ohtani's second pitching appearance. Muncy hit 2 home runs and matched a career high with 7 RBIs to lift the Dodgers to a 13-7 defeat of the Washington Nationals. The Dodgers have been battling back and forth with the Detroit Tigers for the top spot in the MLB, but it seems like they're in prime position for another deep playoff run. Meanwhile, our other hometown team, the Angels, are lingering just around the 500 mark. It's sad to say, but for them, being a middle-of-the-road team is a big improvement. They currently are holding on to about a 7% chance to make the playoffs for the first time in 11 years, but nothing's impossible. Here's kind of a cool positive fact for the Angels. On Monday, the Angels had all 8 of their own first-round draft picks appear in one game. That's the first time that's happened since the Brewers did it in July of 1991. Say what you want about the Angels, but they do draft well and have some promising young talent on the rise, and one of which has been turning heads. Christian Moore, 2024's number 8 overall draft pick, has been a spark for the Angels. On June 13th, Moore was called up to the Angels from the minor leagues. Since then, he's been nothing but clutch. He has 3 home runs so far this season. His first was a game-tying home run in the 7th inning, his second was a game-tying home run in the 8th inning of another game, and his third was a walk-off home run in the bottom of the 9th inning on Tuesday of this week. So in that Tuesday win over the Red Sox, Moore hit a game-tying home run, walk-off home run, and drove in all of the Angels' runs in that game. No player in MLB history has done all of that in the same game ever. Safe to say, the future of the Angels is beginning to look brighter. Sticking with baseball, the Men's College World Series has come to a close. The LSU Tigers won their second national title in 3 years on Sunday with a 5-3 victory over Coastal Carolina. I mentioned it last week, but Coastal Carolina entered the finals on a 26-game winning streak, but ultimately were swept in 2 games by LSU, who now have the second most titles in history with 8. This also is now the SEC's 6th straight national title in baseball and 11th in the past 16 years. I hate to end the show with some bad news, but for one of our other hometown teams, well, there's some bad news. In a shocking move, the Anaheim Ducks have traded Trevor Zegras to the Philadelphia Flyers. In return, Anaheim received center Ryan Poehling, the 45th overall pick in this year's draft, and a 4th-round pick in the 2026 draft. Zegras was one of the most entertaining and talented young players in the NHL through his first 2 seasons, scoring 60-plus points in 2021 and 2022, including some of the most ridiculous goals I've ever seen. However, Zegras missed a large majority of the past 2 seasons with injuries. He still contributed when healthy, but was not healthy very often, unfortunately. Neither the Ducks or the Flyers made the playoffs last season, so both teams are looking to rebuild, and this is the first step of that process. Zegras, however, will still be sorely missed by Ducks fans. All right, since I don't want to end the show with bad news, here's one last bit of good news. This weekend will hold one of the most highly anticipated matchups in UFC history. This Saturday's UFC 317 lineup is one of the best of the year, and the main card could be one of the best fights ever. Ilia Topuria and Charles Oliveira will be fighting for the lightweight title belt. The 28-year-old Topuria is currently undefeated and holds the featherweight title belt, although he vacated that title since he now moves up to the 155-pound weight class to square off with Oliveira and attempt to become the 10th fighter in history to win titles in 2 different weight classes. Charles Oliveira is not an easy opponent, however. He held the lightweight title belt from 2021 to 2022 when he was stripped of the title after a win for missing weight. However, since former champion Islam Makhachev moved up to the welterweight class, the lightweight title is now vacant. Oliveira is looking to return as the champ, and Topuria is looking to conquer his second weight class. The main card for this Las Vegas event will begin at 7 p.m. tomorrow and can be found on pay-per-view on ESPN+. With all of that said, enjoy all of the sports that this weekend has to offer. We'll be off the air next week due to the 4th of July holiday, so I'll see you back here on Sports Corner in 2 weeks. As always, thank you for tuning in. I'm Cole Young. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Happy early 4th of July.